My fellow Ambazonians, this is Dr. Choayaba. I know today is Country Sunday, and I addressed that in my message of yesterday. We recognize your sacrifices, what you have gone through, not only in the past 5 years, but most of us were born under the tyranny of Cameroon, where we had no opportunities. Our dreams became nightmares. Everything you wanted to become never happened. You then started hoping for your children. The only place that they could find hope was to integrate themselves in the corrupt machinery of the same system of curtailment and deprivation. Others joined the military of the killer regime, not to serve the country, but as a source of earning a living. The floodgates of exile opened. Hundreds of thousands of our people escaped the country, some in self-imposed exiles, those who went for economic exile, the few who went for educational exile. 99% became a victim of the political repressive machinery that denied us access to services, schools, and opportunities. Thousands and thousands of our people find themselves in exile, running away from their own homeland because an invader had moved in and instituted a system that was totally different from our daily reality. Those who oppose it ended up in crammed-up jails, subjected to torture, psychological and physical, inhumane and degrading treatment in the form of detention, poor feeding, overcrowdedness, psychological battery, loss of hope. They took our people through court systems, usually the military system, with no representation, where their judgment had already been a political decision handed over to judges. So while we lived in our country and had no opportunities, those who dared raise their finger ended up in the jail of the occupier. That has become the fate of the Ambazonian people. Those who rose up to ask for a GCE board were murdered. Those who asked for a university were murdered. Some of us who managed to sneak ourselves into the University of Boya, that was simply just a glorious high school. Thousands emerged from there to integrate within the same status quo, lack of opportunities. Like those who went to school and those who didn't go to school ended up in the same system, nothing to offer themselves, nothing to offer their families. They joined the train into exile. When lawyers and teachers rose up to ask to be integrated into the system, to be treated as Cameroonians, they were rubbed in mud, treated with contempt. When the people rose up, they loaded their bayonets in helicopters, military trucks from all their military bases to show us who was in charge. They murdered because they knew, of course, the international community was with them. We were powerless. We depended on them for economic survival. We depended on their airports to be able to even escape. We depended on their passport to be able to escape. So they had become so arrogant because they had taken us as their slaves that they thought we could do nothing. That is how we found ourselves under a system that somehow, knowingly or unknowingly, we perpetuated. Those who even rose up sometimes were accused by our own people of disturbing the status quo, making them more angry, making them to become more killers. Those who were in jail, it became their family issue. Because it was your own kids, I didn't care. Because it was your father, it didn't bother me. Because they were from your village, it didn't bother my village. Until it became the concern of everybody's family, everybody's village, and everybody's nightmare. Cameroon today is everybody's nightmare. And until we realize that, it will be difficult for us. Cameroon must be everybody's nightmare. Every village's nightmare. That is why when we are mad with those who work for them, it's not simply because they work for them. It's the consequences of what works or of what working for them brings to our people. Burning down of more than 600 villages. Snitching on our fighters without consequences. Betraying our people. Causing the decapitation of Samsoya, the burning down of Mamiapi. The displacement of millions of people. It's not because they simply just work with them. The chiefs who constitute their instrument of legitimation gives the international community the belief that, we are simply radicals and the majority of our people simply want to integrate. And that empowers Cameroon to get more loans, more guns, more bullets to continue its killings of our people. An enabler is not simply someone who wants to work with them. It's someone who enables the killings of our people, snitching on our soldiers, betraying where they hide, and causing the death and imposing pains to families. Cameroon must become the nightmare of everyone. Yesterday, we all watched how in close range, Jibril from the great state of Sok, driving his car known to the killers who mount checkpoints, illegal checkpoints on our street. The new Jibril, he's a familiar figure. Hear what happened. Knowing him didn't spare him. They murdered him in cold blood. We saw the anger in the population in that particular neighborhood as they paraded his body on the streets of Nkwen. Sometimes we have seen Nkwen as a black hole in the resistance within Bamenda, where some of them have violated country Sundays, enabled the colonial regime. What has been the consequences? The life of Jibril suddenly ended in broad daylight by an illegal system that wasn't supposed to be there. When the people rose up, what happened? It became simply a Nkwen issue. Why? Why did Metakwata not join? When the 4 kids in Metakwata were murdered, did Nkwen rise up? Why did Tarinko not rise up? Why did Bianche not rise up? Why was it left only for Nkwen, for the victims, the immediate vicinity where Jibril was killed, to rise up? That is why the struggle for our liberation and emancipation and self-actualization of our nation is taking longer. Because we are not collectively rising up in defiance against tyranny within all the neighborhoods. Hundreds of massacres committed in our homeland. Thousands of people bludgeoned and murdered in cold blood. our mothers begin to dig graves. Cameroon must become a tragedy for everyone. Cameroon must become a nightmare for every family, for every neighborhood, every village. It must be a collective fight for our collective survival. Thousands of our people are locked up in jail. Do we feel the pain? Or is it only the concern of the families of those people? Thousands of our people are buried in unmarked graves. Do you feel the pain, or you leave it to the family of the victims? The death of an Ambazonian anywhere must be the concern of all Ambazonians everywhere. The murder of an Ambazonian on our street anywhere, whether in a Kata, whether in Tombe, whether it's in Tole, must be the concern of an Ambazonian in Alabukam, in Guzang, in Gunako, in Jindom, in Tamafe, in Yellow. Until we adopt this collective principle, we will be walking on tiptoe stance when we have the unique opportunity to raise like warriors and tell these butchers of our people that your days in our land have come to an end. Our population must know that we aren't going back to the days of tragedy and hopelessness. The population of Ambazonia must know we will not get up one day and end this resistance until the last forces of Cameroon are out of our country. Anyone who dreams of normalcy, return to status quo, where we suffered, where we were humiliated, where we were treated with contempt and disdain, you are wasting your time. The earlier all of us, despite our disagreement and differences, identify the one enemy that imposes pain on us, the better for us. The earlier we get our locked up comrades to walk back home, the IDPs to return home, the refugees, the exiles to come back to reconstruct our country for the benefit of every Ambazonian. Until then, we will continue the pocket resistance until we change sporadic actions into systematic actions that humiliates the enemy on our street and restore pride and dignity to the Ambazonian people. We should not, never allow an Ambazonian citizen to be killed and we don't rise up. When the kids of Soweto were massacred, the people of South Africa rose up. They rose up. We must begin as a people to function like one. That the tragedy of one family must become our tragedy. The tragedy of a particular village must become our collective tragedy if we want to succeed as a people. And that this is not a liberation struggle for the Ambazonian fighters alone. It's a struggle for everyone. The crippled, the blind, the deaf. It must be a collective fight. Because the outcome is not going to be for the fighters alone. It's not going to be for any so-called leader. It's not going to be for all those who claim to hold positions. It's going to be for every Ambazonian. The freedom we seek is for the people, the 8 millions, and all those who inhabit our soil. That's why those who have moved into Ambazonia for sanctuary, for economic opportunities, must also become part of this collective endeavor to end the nightmare that must be everybody's nightmare. Cameroon. I thank the people of Mkwe and everyone, all commanders operating in Bamenda, must make sure anytime the people rise up, you must strike on the enemy as hard as you can and call on all the population of the city to rise up in support of that particular neighborhood, of that family, of that village. That is what it means to be an Ambazonian.
Say me the liberty. Me the liberty. Now the motor this is the key for inside. Now the motor this. Now the motor this. The bullet that will pass. One bullet. They are red for a chest. They are red for a chest. Now the bullet that. No man get motor. Like that. Like that. They make and so they can put chabum, country gun, banger. Man when there is smoke, even cigar, they can put on a motor. Now motor this so, na blood that. Now the man this, man get kind motor, but no get motor money for buy AK-47. They can put na chabum for a motor. Now the motor this. Now the motor this is the key for inside. Now the motor this. Now the motor this. The bullet that will pass. One bullet. They are red for a chest. They are red for a chest. Now the bullet that. No man get motor. Like that. Like that. They make and so they can put chabum, country gun, banger. Man when there is smoke, even cigar, they can put on a motor. Now motor this so, na blood that. Now the man this, man get kind motor, but no get motor money for buy AK-47. They can put na chabum for a motor. Now the motor this. Now the motor this is the key for inside. Now the motor this. The motor this.
We gon' kill them, Taya. Hey, we gon' kill them, Taya. Now when it time go kill. Bobia go kill. How many people Bobia go kill? Bobia go kill. How many people Bobia go kill? Hey, we gon' kill them, Taya. We gon' kill them, Taya. Hey, we gon' kill them, Taya. Now when it time go kill. Bobia go kill. How many people Bobia go kill? Bobia go kill. How many people Bobia go kill? Hey, we gon' kill them, Taya.
Bamenda. Say me the liberty.
Hey!